Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. It is I, Tapy Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we have one hell of a show to bring to you here tonight, as we are only 5 nights away from our final monthly special event of the year, Toxicity, on December 27th, 9/8 Central, right here on the Team Adhesive Broadcasting Network. And to kick things off here tonight, we'll be seeing the KPW American Champion, the Heartthrob Popo, in singles action against the war hero, Sergeant Foxtrot. Surely that's going to be one hell of a brawl, as patriotic as it could get here tonight. And that is not all that lies ahead for Bunker Hill, as Popcorn Papi still has his summit to look forward to with the First Nation. Also to come from the rival faction of Parliament, we'll be hearing from the Monarch, the dear leader himself, Oliver English. And we'll be seeing another member of Parliament in action later on tonight. We're of course talking about the secret weapon, the Latin sensation, Hosway, as he goes one-on-one against Greek machismo, Nick Flawless. Surely a score to be settled there. A bit of a beef between Nick Flawless and Parliament in recent weeks. And Hosway looking to keep his foot on the neck of Greek machismo. He's looking to keep Nick Flawless under his thumb here tonight. But we've seen Parliament go through some serious rough times as of late. And we will have to wait and see if this will be just another rough night in a bad string of nights. A bad string of weeks for Parliament. Also still to come, the #1 contenders for the KPW Tag Team Championships, Bloom, Bilko, The Scheme, the cohorts of the director Steven Gielberg, will be in tag team action here tonight against the former 2-time KPW Tag Team Champions themselves, the returning Boise Boyz, David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, looking to throw down once again before the end of 2025. And speaking of the devil, as we said earlier, Steven Gielberg, the director, he's got his hands full here tonight, as in our main event he'll be taking on one of the 2 leading contenders for a KPW World Heavyweight Championship opportunity heading in towards 2026. He'll be going one-on-one against the Rhinestone Cowboy himself, the Sauce. But without any further ado, let's get down to ringside. Let's see some good old American boys throw it down in the center of the ring. Sergeant Foxtrot marching with that old glory. Dignified, well respected, and quite formidable. This could be one hell of a victory for him to pick up here tonight if he could overwhelm the Heartthrob and a proprietary member of Bunker Hill, Popo. We're just 3 weeks in to the championship reign of the Heartthrob, the second ever KPW American Champion, defeating the Misfit Bob for that honor. And we know that Popo will be defending that American Championship for the first time ever at Toxicity in just 5 nights on the 27th. That's set to be one hell of a show. Quite the explosive encounter awaiting us this upcoming holiday weekend. And KPW would like to announce to you, ladies and gentlemen, that Toxicity will not be the only special event to occur during this holiday season. Next week's edition of War Zone, the final edition of War Zone for 2025, will indeed be a holiday special, a special 5-match card titled Holiday Hell. That hellacious forearm strike takes down the Sarge. Snapmare from the American champion. Sergeant Foxtrot attempting that double leg takedown. He's going for that once again, trying to take Popo off that vertical base. Popo tries to throw that right jab, but Sergeant Foxtrot catches it, goes for an arm breaker. Foxtrot successful with the takedown this time around. Irish whip into the ropes. A shoulder tackle takes down Popo, and Sergeant Foxtrot looking to exhaust all the energy and can strip it away from the champion with that triangle hold. And this could be quite dangerous for the KPW American Champion. He does not want to take a man like Sergeant Foxtrot in jest. This could be quite catastrophic for Popo if he's not going to play his cards correctly here. Missile drop kick, but the Sarge is still on his feet. He's all amped up. He can put this away sooner rather than later. Big pile driver, dumping the champion on his neck. Lateral press, cover, and a kick out at 2, courtesy of the Heartthrob. Crucifix covered by Popo, but Sergeant Foxtrot feet reaching that bottom rope. Popo covered so much ground with and so much buildup with that crucifix attempt. He did not get as much effectiveness as he wanted to out of that attempted pinfall, but he's trying to make the most out of a messy situation. Sergeant Foxtrot looking to intercept Popo in the middle. Popo cartwheels his way out of range. Sergeant Foxtrot readjusting, go for a scoop slam. Popo snap DDT. Staying quick with his cat-like reflexes. And that veteran instinct, that ability to improvise and think on the fly. That's exactly how he won the American Championship in the first place.
1.
Popo getting knocked off the apron. Sergeant Foxtrot looking to follow through. Diving down
5.
onto the back of the champion. And a reminder, folks, this is non-title action, but this could almost certainly have some serious championship implications if Sergeant Foxtrot can emerge victorious here.
40, 50,
Down to 15. Sarge making a lot of headway on the outside. This Kumite form, it is stacked, it is packed. Filled to the brim, every seat occupied here tonight. Irish whip, but Popo hangs on to the ropes. Looking to meet in the middle, snap suplex onto the Sarge. And now it's Popo's turn to dictate the pace of this bout. He's now trying to control that pace and slow down the Sarge with that figure 4 leg lock. Taking it back to the fundamentals. And whenever the Sarge loses that solid ground that he has over the champion, he's come up with another strategy, a new tactic to make sure that the champion is once again at some sort of disadvantage. Atomic drop to the heartthrob. And Sergeant Foxtrot, he's looking to put this away here. Crossbow stretch. And Popo, he was just barely escaping that hold. And he goes low on the Sarge. Hurricane Rana. And once again, the Sarge's feet reach the bottom ropes. The situational awareness, the environmental awareness of the Sarge coming back to haunt the heartthrob. And it's not very often when you see Popo being given a run for his money. But Popo just found one hell of a way to equalize it. Texas T. And drilling that elbow right into the heart to seal the deal.
2, 3, pinfall.
That wasn't falling off the top rope. That was descending with grace. Popo playing it in the pocket through the duration of this bout. He took one hell of a beating from the Sarge here tonight. But that padded super kick, the Texas T, at the snap of a finger, he completely shifted the momentum. He shifted the outcome of this bout entirely in his favor. And it's moves like that in his arsenal that make him such a formidable champion. Congratulations to Popo.
So
what is
much
this?
doubt over the past several months. All these growing pains. And nobody has the patience to realize this very important lesson we have in front of us, Papyrus. You can't have an armlet if you don't crack a couple eggs. If we really want to achieve our great vision, we need to convince the enemy they're engaging in a losing battle. This is where you come in, Papyrus. Your loyalty has been quite strong. Stronger than I ever gave you credit for. And I need to reward you for never relenting your faith. I had plans to take on Popo for the KPW American Championship at Toxicity. I've been able to handle him before, but I am needed elsewhere. That is why I am trusting you with this task. With your might, Papyrus, your strength and your speed, Popo doesn't stand a chance this Saturday. And think of the shame he's gonna feel when we rip the American Championship away from Bunker Hill. You can't fail. Now, let's talk strategy.
Now that is one hell of a turn of events. Oliver English sicking the 400-pound Papyrus onto Popo for Toxicity this weekend for the American Championship. Popo's got one hell of a fight on his hands this Saturday night. And speaking of fights, we know that Slarty might have one hell of a fight on his hands this Saturday night as well, as they have called in this official summit with another cohort in Bunker Hill, Popcorn Papi, to try and discuss their terms. We've seen Popcorn Papi fight like hell to try and get this opportunity, to get this chance for reparations. Bailing Slarty and Shuko out of an attack from Corey Sinclair just 2 weeks ago. He was given some specific instructions to come here ready to discuss the summit, discuss the terms of war. And Popcorn Papi maintaining his respect for Slarty and Shuko, marching down to the ring by himself.
Popcorn Papi, you've come. We didn't have to search for you. We aren't going to be anything else besides direct to you. This is the summit. Before we make any grounds here, Slarty and myself would like to give you our regards for your intervention 2 weeks ago. We understand how important your journey is to you. I balked at the idea of giving you any kind of reparation. I didn't think much of your demands until you saved my partner, and it humbled me. If you seek reparations, if you seek a clean slate, your desires must be stronger than the men that oppressed you. So let me ask you, are you willing to experience plight? Are you willing to make sacrifices to achieve your end goal?
Mang, I've never spent a day in my life without struggle. We aren't so different. I've been used, I've been taken advantage of. And yet, I lace up these boots and I give these people my 100%. Because I understand that if I gave these people anything less, I'd never be good enough to follow my dreams. I want that World Heavyweight Championship. But I need this from y'all first. My flock has spent so much time and resources pushing back on Parliament, and nobody oppresses more in that locker room than they do. I need to do this for them, and I want a new chapter for all of us. And if you were in my shoes, I would hope that you would do the same thing. 'Cause you know how great it would feel to bring that belt back home and be the hero you always dreamed of being.
Strong words from Popcorn Papi.
Very well then. Slarty will give you a match at Toxicity. On one condition. This man fractured your neck with a buckle bomb, correct? Slarty will now do this again, one time in each corner of the ring. If you fail to stand on your own 2 feet when the dust settles, we will never give you anything.
So let me get this straight. You ordered this summit 2 weeks ago. You knew that y'all owed me at least for bailing you out with Corey. And still, you needed to negotiate ahead of this match on Saturday?
This wasn't a negotiation. This was a prerequisite.
Prerequisite? Slarty, he's locked and loaded. He's ready to lay down those buckle bombs. And I don't think this was exactly what Popcorn Papi had in mind for the summit. And here he is fighting like hell to try and preserve his dreams. He's trying to preserve his health here tonight as well. He's got to keep a level head here. He knows exactly what they were here to negotiate for. And there's buckle bomb number 1. Slarty trying to drag Popcorn Papi back towards that corner. Looking for number 2. Popcorn Papi, he still has his wits about him. It only took one of these power bombs to put this man on the shelf for 4 long months. All that time ago. Buckle bomb number 3. Popcorn Papi, he is dazed. And he's getting back to his feet. He's rising up to the challenge. He's yelling at Slarty, give me the last bomb. And Slarty obliges. And look at this! Slarty's picking him up! He wants that fight just as badly! What a massive sign of respect from the First Nation. Not quite the most orthodox way of showing it. Certainly not the most orthodox summit we've ever seen here in KPW. But Popcorn Papi, he wanted this chance at redemption so badly. And he wanted to close a chapter of KPW's history here tonight. And it looks like we're gonna get that fight at Toxicity. Popcorn Papi goes one-on-one against the War Machine, Slarty. Also confirmed for Toxicity, the American Championship up for grabs as Popo defends the belt against the 400-pound Papyrus. And speaking of some cohorts within Parliament, coming up next, singles action afoot as Hosway goes one-on-one with Greek Machismo himself, Mick Flawless. Now there's plenty of blood spilled between these two. Plenty of conflict between these two parties in particular. It's all started 3 weeks ago, right after in the fallout of Collision Course, Mick Flawless being blindsided, wiped out before he can enter that World Heavyweight Championship Contenders Battle Royale. And it's all because of Parliament, the joint efforts of Hosway and Oliver English. And tonight he looks for retribution. He wasn't able to secure that against Oliver English 2 weeks ago in singles action. And we thought he had that bout won, but he turned his attention to Tori. And that gave Oliver English the perfect opening to roll him up. And then moments after the bell rang, moments after the match ended, this man, the secret weapon, marched down to ringside and busted Mick Flawless wide open with a barbed wire 2x4. Rolling clutch pin, and what a counter by The effervescent, the agile Hosway. Hosway looking for a quick cutter here. Nick Flawless with a snap German suplex. And many look at Hosway as a Benedict Arnold-esque figure when it comes to Bunker Hill. This man was at one point in time the student, the man that sat underneath the learning tree of Popcorn Papi when he made his arrival here to KPW all those months ago. But he sought opportunities. He picked himself over any sort of friendship, any sort of bond that he could share with the men that now comprise of Bunker Hill. He chose personal glory and he became a Twitch champion. And he has been, up to this point, the only man in Parliament to win any sort of championship gold. Forearm strike from Nick Flawless, taking down Hosway. German attempted once again by Nick Flawless, but Hosway lands on his feet. Hook kick finds its mark on the face of Nick Flawless. Waistlock reversal by Nick Flawless. And this is some fast-paced, high-octane action from both of these men. Two men with very high aspirations for the Twitch division. Two men with even larger goals of becoming world heavyweight champion. We've seen that world title scene really heat up in recent weeks. We've seen Corey Sinclair try and make his bid. We've seen the Sauce put up one hell of a fight over the past several months as a fighting a valiant Twitch champion before dropping that belt at Collision Course to the masked Rey Lucion, a man who will also be competing and defending his championship at Toxicity against Kabuki in just 5 nights. Speaking of the Sauce, we'll be seeing him throughout the duration of this week, including our main event here tonight, where he goes one-on-one against the director, Steven Gielberg. And also at Toxicity, we'll be holding a championship contender. The winner of that bout will get the first world title shot in 2026. As the Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce, takes on the King of Stego Style, Corey Sinclair. Also to follow next Monday night, the final War Zone of the year, a special holiday-themed episode appropriately titled Holiday Hell, will also be unfolding in the next week to come here. Nick Flawless looking to improvise here, and he just knocked Hosway on his ass. Nick Flawless, he was thinking to go for a flawless elbow. As we try and make light of this situation here. I think he realized that he got exactly what he wanted out of this. He got some form of retribution here. He secured the injury, and this This was the final insult of them all here. Realizing he didn't even need to finish off the secret weapon with that patented flawless elbow. He just goes straight for the cover. And just like that, the bout has come to an end. Congratulations to Greek Machismo on one hell of a victory here tonight. This is certainly gonna ruffle some feathers within Parliament. But when it comes to establishing some order, we've seen a new order take a serious foothold here in KPW as of lately. The trio of the Scheme, Bloom, Bilko, Steven Gielberg, collectively known as the Studio. They've been taking KPW by storm. They have been relentless in their endeavors and their attacks. The Scheme working their way towards a tag team championship opportunity. One that they will receive in just 5 nights against the Murder Hornets for the KPW Tag Team Championships. But tonight, they take on the Boise Boyz. They take on Hollywood Hannon and David Rush. Been quite some time since we've seen either one of these Boise men in action.
You think you know me?
You know how vicious the Boise Boyz can be. They've built up one hell of a legacy here in KPW. Nobody has beaten the brakes out of the tag team division quite like the Boise Boyz, but the Scheme, they're looking to give these two one hell of a run for their money. These two men, David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, marching side by side. That is one hell of a reign of terror that they had back in 2024. They've had some serious opportunities over the course of 2025. Hollywood Hannon, the big man, electing to start this bout against Bloom. And this is certainly something that could put the dynamic of the main event to the ultimate test. The Scheme, Bloom, Bilko, they can be completely neutralized before that bout even starts. You know that Steven Gielberg has been using his connections to make the lives of those that oppose him a living hell. We know that he used the Scheme to make Pierre Cinema's life a living hell. We saw it last week when Steven Gielberg sidelined the Viceroy Jedi with that vicious blue shell bomb. And the Sauce is treading some dangerous water. And our main event still to come here tonight. Arch whip from Bloom to Hollywood Hannon. Noggin knocker in the middle. Both men get sent collapsing into the mat. Bilko taking the fight right to Hollywood Hannon. And what a victory this would be on the resume of the scheme if they could put down the Boise Boyz here tonight. Great, that complete and utter buzzkill for David Rush and Hollywood Hannon, their first night back in God knows how long. And the record breaker himself, he's looking in absolutely phenomenal shape here tonight, much like Hollywood Hannon. David Rush, he seems to have bulked up quite a bit since the last time we've seen him. We've seen him make it to the finals of the 2024 Golden Gauntlet. We've seen David Rush take the fight to former world heavyweight champions like the Viceroy. And in comes Hollywood Hannon, one of the hardest, heaviest hitters in the entire KPW locker room. A man that has been one hell of a difference maker when it comes to the reputation, the legacy of the Boise Boyz. They've been successful tag team champions across the pond. They've been successful tag team champions within this ecosystem, within this environment. They were the first ever two-time KPW Tag Team Champions. The scheme approached Saturday night looking to achieve that goal for their very first time. Bloom tossing Hollywood Hannon down to the floor. Bilko looking to go for the kill with that moonsault down to the floor. Thankfully, Hollywood Hannon was able to move out of harm's way.
One, two, three.
And Hollywood Hannon, he is absolutely clearing house now. And who could blame him? Scheme in their red and black apparel, the Boise Boyz, their signature blue colors. We're gonna take the fight like it was their last night on Earth. Shin breaker from David Rush. Quite a useful assist from the record breaker, Hollywood Hannon.
Two.
Trying to even the odds here against the scheme. And if there's one thing that the scheme does better than any other tag team, they know how to play that numbers game.
Three.
Nobody plays this game dirtier than Bloom and Bilko. Tandem offense from the scheme, taking down both members of the Boise Boyz, both David Rush and Hollywood Hannon. An open palm strike takes David Rush off the apron. And Bilko looks to steal one at the expense of Hollywood. Swinging DDT onto the big man. Now, earlier today, we were able to reach out to David Rush and Hollywood Hannon, open to do some press here with KPW before our event here tonight at the Kumite Forum. We were able to ask them what goals they had, what aspirations they had for 2026. And if they had any ambitions that extended outside of the tag team division, we know that these two men, we know how dangerous they could be as a unit, but we've seen very brief glimpses of how dangerous these two could be as individuals.
3, 4, 5.
To see a man like David Rush or Hollywood Hannon trying to approach the World Championship, they're trying to capture the KPW American Championship, that's one hell of a sight that any champion could have to worry about when they stare across that squared circle. And if there's one thing that the Boise Boyz love, it's a good fight. And Bloom and Bilko, they're gonna have to fight like hell if they want a good shot of winning the tag team championships at Toxicity. Tag made to Hollywood. And look at the work that the Boise Boyz are able to put in. It takes two of these men just to put down Hollywood Hannon. That double suplex. Being able to take down Hollywood Hannon even for just a second. That's gonna create one hell of an opportunity. The heavier you are, the harder you fall. And Hollywood Hannon, he needs to pick those moments wisely. Big boo from Hollywood.
Break.
Hollywood Hannon showing that he's not above playing a bit dirty himself, trying to gouge the eyes of Bilko. You know, David Rush, he would love nothing more than to become the first ever 3-time tag team champion. I'm sure he would love to add more championships to that resume. Sunset flip cover, but a 1 count, and only a 1 count for Bilko. Hollywood Hannon breaking free of that pinfall. And every time the Boise Boyz have been able to kick out, the scheme of just up their aggression. And that is quite a dangerous game to play with these two. You are marching directly into their comfort zone. You try and fight on the same level of aggression as the Boise Boyz. Hollywood Hannon drilling that forearm into the back, that lower lumbar region of Bloom. And now David Rush looks to move in, looks to zero in, and continue deconstruction. The Boise Boyz are like a demolition crew. They will take apart, they will disassemble the scheme in ways that they could have never possibly imagined. Boom, looking for a drop kick on David Rush. David Rush sidesteps it. Another Irish whip. Manhattan drop on David Rush. Hurricane Rana.
1.
Knees on the shoulders. David Rush, he has so much upper body strength. He was able to push Bloom off of his shoulders. At the count of 1. Side Russian leg sweep from Hollywood Hannon. Bloom, Bilko, they are taking the fight right to the Boise Boyz. As we mentioned earlier, that'd be one hell of a victory for them to achieve here tonight. It'll be the biggest victory of their entire careers. If they could spoil the party of the Boise Boyz, their triumphant return, reduced to a footnote in the rise of the scheme, Michinoku driver, and they've done it. They've done the deed. What stronger message could there possibly be than to put down one of the most dominant tag teams in KPW history ahead of Toxicity? What kind of message is being transmitted to the Murder Hornets ahead of Saturday night? The studio, the collective of Bloom, Bilko, and Steven Gielberg, they've been on one hell of a warpath. And here tonight we have yet another casualty of that warpath. David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, coming up short against the scheme. And ladies and gentlemen, coming up this Saturday night, a card to come at Toxicity, our final monthly special event of the year before we march headstrong into 2026. Here's what we could look forward to for the evening. For the KPW Twitch Championship, we'll be seeing hard-boiled Kabuki take on the Twitch champion Rey Ilusion. As Ilusion makes his first ever Twitch championship defense, we still have no clue of the identity of this masked individual, this masked entity, but he's been putting up one hell of a fight, and he's been taking the fight to quite a wide assortment of individuals in that locker room, and Kabuki won't be any different. But speaking of fights, we'll go further because, as confirmed earlier tonight, we'll be seeing Slarty, the War Machine, representing the First Nation, taking on Popcorn Papi, representing Bunker Hill. Slarty looking to maintain his dominance. These two have never fought in singles action before here in KPW. They've had some skirmishes along the way, some very infamous skirmishes leading up to this moment, including Slarty giving Popcorn Papi a fractured neck, one that put him on the shelf for 4 long months. But Popcorn Papi, he is here for reparations. He is here to make his ultimate redemption as he continues to chase his dream of one day becoming a future world heavyweight champion. And Slarty is just another path that he has to take. It is a slight detour that he has to make before he can get any fruitful and gainful opportunities. But that's not all regarding Bunker Hill. Popo will be defending that KPW American Championship against the 400-pound Papyrus, representing Parliament, as the war continues to rage on between those two factions. The American Championship up for grabs, already in some heavy contention, as we saw earlier on tonight, between Popo and Sergeant Foxtrot. And to think that might have only been a warm-up for what is still to come at Toxicity, it's quite frightening. Also still to come at Toxicity for the KPW Tag Team Championships, the Scheme, Bloom, Bilko will be taking on the reigning and defending two-time KPW Tag Team Champions, the Murder Hornets, Wasp and Mosquito, as they return from their Japanese excursions to partake in the final monthly special event of the year to defend the gold against one of the most dangerous tag teams in the division. Also still to come, two bouts that will shake up the World Heavyweight Championship scene for a serious time to come. A championship contender, one of these two men, will be marching into 2026 with a guaranteed world title shot. The Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce, and the King of Stego Style, Corey Sinclair. One of these two men will have one hell of a ticket to punch in once the new year arrives. And that only determines one of the two parties for that future championship bout. What we still have to look forward to in the main event of Toxicity is Pando making yet another World Heavyweight Championship defense, this time against France's greatest export, the star attraction, Pierre Cinema, as these two men duke it out for the first time ever. But coming up next in our main event of the evening, one of those potential #1 contenders, the Sauce, goes one-on-one against the director, Steven Gielberg, in our main event. You want to talk about danger, a looming threat, a cloud of mist on the horizon. Look no further than the director, Steven Gielberg, the man that just sidelined the Viceroy for an undisclosed amount of time, courtesy of the best power bomb in the business, the Blue Shell Bomb. And if there's a man that is absolutely fearless, a man that is willing to take the fight to the director, look no further, it's the Sauce. And he's had one hell of a go when it comes to championship endeavors. Steven Gielberg, a former hardcore champion, and that is the only thing on that KPW resume. The Sauce, however, a former two-time KPW Twitch champion, the first ever Lethal Lottery winner, A man that has headlined multiple monthly special events, including the first ever Summer Spark, where he challenged a man they called Ding for the KPW World Heavyweight Championship that night. Speaking of the Dinger, we actually see him lurking from the rafters, observing from afar. Dang, he's been quite the vengeful spirit lately. He's been in full control since he returned to Collision Course. And control is exactly what these two men are looking for here at our main event here tonight. Big boot from Steven Gielberg takes down the Rhinestone Cowboy. Sauce trying to go for a suplex. Steven Gielberg responds with one of his own. And think of the size difference going into this bout. Sauce with the reach advantage. 6'5", 260 pounds.
One, two.
Steven Gielberg retrieving a table from the outside and introducing it inside the ring here. Steven Gielberg, 6 feet tall, 285 pounds. This is a tried and true. This is as quintessential as it gets, a true heavyweight clash in our main event of War Zone here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, next week, the final War Zone of the year, a special edition Holiday Hell, a special 5-match card will be revealed over the course of the next week.
10, 11, 12,
As KPW looks to go out
13,
with a bang this year.
14, 15.
And we're certainly going to see some explosive action at Toxicity this Saturday night on the 27th. The Sauce with a microphone in hand.
One, two,
I don't think he was able to get that microphone to work, but
four,
I think he still got some intended usage out of it. Steven Gielberg with yet another table.
8, 9, 10,
Sauce retrieving that foam sign from out of the stands.
13, 14, 15.
I know the rules here in KPW. Anything goes. The only way to be disqualified is by a time limit draw, a 20 count, or outside interference.
1, 2, 3.
TV time remaining. They have 30 minutes to inflict as much pain and as much suffering and induce as much plight in one another
10, 11,
as they see fit. The Sauce going low with a low blow
13,
to the director.
14, 15, 16.
Steven Gielberg with a quick shot to the jaw of the Sauce. And another low blow. Sauce wrenched in that headlock. The Sauce taking the fight right to the director, punching him over the top rope and down to the floor.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The Sauce with that microphone in hand, looking to prioritize dexterity as he tries to whip that microphone right at the head of Steven Gielberg. Steven Gielberg ducking it by getting through the ropes. And the Sauce responds with a hellacious lariat cover.
2.
Sauce steel chair in hand. Steven Gielberg wrestles the chair out of the grasp of the Sauce. The Hardcore Championship may have been retired over the course of the past month, but this has certainly turned into one hell of a hardcore bout here tonight. The Sauce trying to use whatever weapons he can get a hold of here tonight. First the chair, then the foam bowl. The Sauce looks to inflict more damage. Superplex onto the table. The Sauce leaves the ring. Going outside to retrieve that chair. Steven Gielberg trying to make sure that the Sauce cannot use any more weaponry against him. And it was the director himself. It was Steven Gielberg himself that introduced these weapons to the bout. The Sauce, he has been absolutely relentless here tonight. He is making sure that Steven Gielberg can't get any chance at all to use these weapons at all. Belly to back onto the chair, hooking the leg. This has gotta be it.
Count 2.
And another 2 count kick out from Steven Gielberg. And you gotta give it to the director, love him or hate him. He's really stepped it up as a combatant here at KPW over the course of the year.
1, 2, count 2.
Sauce going for another cover after that brain buster. And he had Steven Gielberg airborne for quite some time there. Try and get the blood to rush down towards his head. And what we are seeing from the Sauce here tonight, he's looking to inflict some serious blunt force trauma to the director. Drop down. Steven Gielberg looking to take the Sauce's head off with a clothesline. He sidesteps and goes for another belly to back. Big boot in the corner. Sauce whipping Steven Gielberg to regain control. Sauce thinking another superplex. And he gets all of it. What does the Sauce have in mind? What could he be possibly thinking about?
3, 4, 5.
Mind is just racing with endless possibilities here. Steven Gielberg attempting that double arm DDT on the floor. The Sauce counters with a beautiful Northern Light suplex.
12, 13, 14.
Count of 14. Both of these men starting to approach that danger zone of getting disqualified. Steven Gielberg in even more danger. The Sauce, he's got a 2x4. Is that wrapped in barbed wire? How is this getting past security? And what a precision strike with that 2x4, with that lumber from the Sauce. And somehow it wasn't enough to put down the director, the wherewithal. Where is he finding the heart to keep fighting? As cold and as black as it is, Steven Gielberg pushes on. And now it's the Sauce setting up a table, center of the ring. And he's just laying in these strikes with the steel chair.
One, two.
Steven Gielberg busted wide open. He is wearing that proverbial crimson mask. He is bleeding buckets here tonight, folks. When we say that this is a war zone, when we say this is the home of fighting spirit, this is exactly what we mean when we promote this. Sauce whipping Steven Gielberg into the corner. Pushing him back in. Looking for a superplex once again. But oh my God!
One, two, three. Pin.
A rockabye! Courtesy of the Sauce! Through the table! What a hell of an exclamation point to make on the match! And what a perfect landing! That was a bullseye for the Sauce! These two men beat the hell out of each other in our main event here tonight. But only one of these men is standing tall here tonight, and that man is the Sauce. These two pulled all the stops. They had to dig deep to try and put the other man away. And what we saw here tonight was something that the Sauce had never done before, and now it's Corey Sinclair rushing down to ringside. The Sauce still has some fight left in him. Corey Sinclair showing that ugly mug of his down here at ringside. And look who's ready to clear house. It's the KPW World Heavyweight Champion, the Siberian Silver Bear, Pando, and he's marching with some serious intent. Corey Sinclair looking to get a quick advantage ahead of Toxicity, looking to get any sort of lead that he possibly can as he continues to plunge further and further down that rabbit hole. And now we are seeing some real-time consequences And who can forget the last time that these two squared off? Corey actually got the upper hand on the World Heavyweight Champion. This would be one hell of a dynamic to see with the World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs in 2026. Pando, he's fighting like hell. He's trying to create any opportunity that he can, but Corey is giving him a run for his money. Pando, drop kick in the corner. He might have found his opening. Spearing Corey Sinclair halfway across the ring. Bear claw. And what the hell is this? That's Pierre Cinema. We heard what Pierre said a couple weeks ago on War Zone. We've seen it used and manipulated by Steven Gielberg. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He was waiting for Pando to show a sign of weakness. And Pierre Cinema is here to capitalize. Star struck on the champion. And he's not finished. The last time these two had a run-in with each other, Pierre Cinema cracked Pando over the head with a steel chair by accident. But make no mistake here, folks, tonight was no accident whatsoever. In fact, I think he made his message perfectly clear. Pando has something that the Star Attraction wants, as he raises it up high. That KPW World Heavyweight Championship. And he's gonna do whatever he can to try and take that away from him in just 5 nights. December 27th, 9/8 Central, our final monthly special event, Toxicity, where these two will finally meet in the ring. And that is all the time we have here tonight, folks. I've been Tapey Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we wish you all, from KPW to you, the viewers at home, and the fans in the Kumite Forum, a happy holidays, everybody.